Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever faced a moment in life when giving up seemed easier than pressing on? A moment when the weight of the world was so heavy that hope felt like a distant star and faith seemed out of reach? I have been there. In fact, we all have in one way or another. But let me tell you something profound. Hope and faith are not distant stars. They are right here within us, waiting to be unleashed. Imagine this: you're standing on the edge of a cliff surrounded by storms. Every step forward feels like it could be your last. But in that moment, you hear a voice not from outside, but from within saying, take one more step. You're not alone. That voice is hope. That presence is faith. And together they transform fear into courage, doubt into belief, and despair into possibility. Today I'm here to talk about living with hope and faith, not as abstract ideas, but as powerful forces that can reshape your life. I'll share stories that will make you laugh, cry, and reflect deeply. I'll give you tools to reignite your hope when it's flickering and strengthen your faith when it's shaken. By the end of this journey, you won't just feel inspired, you'll feel equipped. You'll leave here knowing that no matter what storms you face, you have what it takes to rise, to shine, and to live a life filled with purpose and resilience. So buckle up, open your heart, and let's explore together. Hope and faith can lead us through the toughest battles and into the most extraordinary victories. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever found yourself at a crossroads faced with a challenge so overwhelming that it felt like the end of the road? Picture this: the weight of failure looming over you, the sting of rejection fresh in your heart, or perhaps the uncertainty of what tomorrow might bring pressing down on your shoulders. In moments like these, it's easy to feel lost, as though the world is closing in, leaving no room for hope or solutions. But let me take you back to a day that changed everything for me, a day when I too felt like I had nothing left to give. I remember sitting alone, grappling with a problem that seemed insurmountable. My mind raced with what ifs and why me's, and I was ready to surrender to the chaos. Then, out of nowhere, I heard a small voice within, barely a whisper, but powerful enough to catch my attention. It wasn't a voice of blame or fear. It was calm, steady, and full of possibility. Just one more step, it said. And there it was, a glimmer of hope in the midst of my despair. That whisper wasn't about solving everything all at once. It wasn't promising an immediate fix or even clarity. It was a reminder to hold on, to take one small action when all I wanted to do was stop. That single moment, that one small step, was the beginning of something incredible. It taught me that even in our darkest times, hope has the power to pierce through the shadows. And it's not about having everything figured out or knowing how the story will end. It's about believing that the next chapter is worth writing, even if you can't see the whole book yet. The story doesn't stop there. With every step I took, I found that hope grew stronger. The path didn't always get easier, but my resolve did. It wasn't just about moving forward for myself. It was about realizing that my story, my struggles, and my triumphs could inspire others to find their own hope. Think about the moments in your life when you felt stuck, when giving up seemed like the only option. What if instead of surrendering, you chose to take one more step? What if you decided to look at your situation through the lens of possibility rather than limitation? That's the power of hope. It's not passive, it's active. It's a choice we make to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep striving, even when the odds seem stacked against us. So today I challenge you to hold on to hope, not as something distant or abstract, but as a force within you. It's a voice that says you are stronger than you think, you are braver than you know, and you are capable of more than you imagine. That is the essence of living with hope and faith. And it starts with a single courageous step forward. Life is full of challenges, and how we choose to see them defines our experience. Some people face adversity and crumble, while others find a way to grow through the struggle. What makes the difference? It's perspective, the lens through which we view the world. Shifting our perspective can turn even the most daunting obstacles into opportunities, the darkest moments into lessons, and despair into hope. Think of a storm. At first glance, it's terrifying. The wind howls, the rain pounds, and the skies are dark and threatening. If you're caught in it, your instinct might be to run for cover, to shield yourself from its fury. But what if you could step back and see the storm differently? What if instead of focusing on the chaos, you notice how it nourishes the earth, replenishing rivers, making flowers bloom? and bringing life to barren fields. That storm is no longer just a source of fear, it becomes a force of renewal, even beauty. Perspective works the same way in our lives. When we face challenges, our initial reaction is often fear, frustration, or even hopelessness. We see the pain, the loss, or the failure, and it feels overwhelming. But if we take a step back, if we allow ourselves to see the bigger picture, everything changes. A setback might reveal itself as an opportunity to grow stronger. A failure might teach us lessons we would never have learned otherwise. A closed door might guide us to a path we were truly meant to take. I remember a time when I faced what seemed like an insurmountable challenge. I was exhausted, frustrated, and ready to give up. All I could see was what I was losing: the time, the energy, the dreams that seemed so far out of reach. Then someone close to me asked a simple but profound question: what if this is happening for you, not to you? That single question changed everything. It forced me to shift my focus from what I was losing to what I might gain. I began to look for the hidden gifts in the struggle, the lessons, the growth, and the strength I didn't know I had. Slowly but surely, what once felt like a dead end became a turning point. Perspective doesn't mean denying the pain or pretending everything is perfect. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing to see beyond it. It's about asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me better, not bitter? It's about finding meaning in the mess and purpose in the pain. Every great story has moments of struggle, but those moments are what make the triumphs so inspiring. Without the storm, the rainbow wouldn't shine so brightly. Without the challenge, the victory wouldn't taste so sweet. So the next time you face an obstacle, remember this: it's not just about what you're going through. It's about how you choose to see it. A shift in perspective can change everything. Faith is a powerful force. It's not something you can touch or measure, but its presence or absence shapes how we navigate life's uncertainties. Faith is what gives us the courage to take steps forward when the path ahead is unclear. It is the quiet assurance that we are guided even when we cannot see the destination. It is a foundation that grounds us when everything else feels like it's falling apart. But what exactly is faith? It isn't blind optimism or wishful thinking. Faith doesn't deny reality or ignore difficulties. Instead, faith is the deep conviction that there is more to life than what we can see and that we are connected to something greater than ourselves. It's the trust that every experience, even the painful ones, is part of a bigger plan. Faith whispers to us in the darkest moments, you are not alone. I remember a time in my life when everything seemed uncertain. I was facing decisions that felt overwhelming, and fear was my constant companion. I kept searching for clarity, for a clear answer, but it never came. The more I sought control, the more out of control I felt. Then one day, in the middle of all that turmoil, I realized something. Clarity wasn't what I needed most, faith was. Faith doesn't always give us clear answers, but it does give us peace. It allows us to take the next step even when we don't know the full path. It reminds us that we don't have to have it all figured out to keep moving forward. When I embraced faith, I stopped being paralyzed by fear. I learned to trust the process, to believe that the road ahead would reveal itself as I walked it. And remarkably, it did. Faith also teaches us patience. We live in a world that demands instant results, but life doesn't always work that way. There are seasons of waiting, of wondering, of feeling stuck. In those seasons, faith is what sustains us. It's the quiet belief that delays are not denials and that the waiting is shaping us for what's to come. More than anything, faith reminds us of our resilience. It tells us that we are stronger than we think and braver than we feel. It connects us to hope and gives us the confidence to face the unknown. Faith isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about confronting them with the assurance that we are not doing it alone. Each of us has our own journey of faith, and it may not look the same as anyone else's. That's the beauty of it. It's personal, intimate, and uniquely ours. Whether your faith is rooted in a higher power, in the love of those around you, or in the quiet strength within yourself, it is a guiding light. Faith isn't just about believing in something greater. It's about believing in yourself as part of that greater plan. It's about trusting the process even when it feels uncertain, and knowing that you have what it takes to rise, to grow, and to persevere. Faith is your compass, your guide, and your anchor in life's ever-changing sea. Hope is the fuel that keeps us moving forward, even when the road ahead is unclear. It is the quiet force that propels us through life's struggles, allowing us to see beyond our current circumstances and envision a better future. Hope doesn't promise that everything will be easy, but it offers a reason to keep going, a reason to believe that something good is on the other side of the challenge. It's a light that shines in the darkest of times, reminding us that there is always potential for change, growth, and renewal. I can vividly recall a moment in my life when everything felt uncertain. It was as if I were standing in a dense fog, unable to see beyond the immediate cloud of confusion and frustration. Each day felt like a battle, and I began to lose sight of what I was working towards. But during those difficult times, I discovered something remarkable: hope. It wasn't a sudden burst of clarity, nor did it erase all my doubts. But hope began to grow in me slowly and steadily, like a seed taking root in the soil. I began to ask myself, what if this is not the end? What if this struggle is preparing me for something greater? This simple shift in mindset allowed me to embrace the journey, even when it was hard to see the outcome. I no longer needed to know exactly how everything would unfold. I just needed to believe that it would. And that belief gave me the strength to keep moving forward. Hope isn't about ignoring the reality of pain or pretending that things are easy when they're not. It's about acknowledging the difficulties, but choosing to believe that better days are ahead. It's about seeing the potential for growth in every situation and the possibility that every setback is a setup for something greater. Even when life throws us curveballs, hope whispers to us, this is not the end of your story. What's powerful about hope is that it's not something we need to wait for, it's something we can create. Hope isn't passive, it's a choice. It's a mindset we can cultivate every single day. When we face challenges, we can choose to focus on what's wrong, or we can choose to focus on what could go right. We can look at our circumstances as obstacles, or we can see them as opportunities for growth. Hope gives us the courage to take that first step, even when we're unsure of the next one. I've learned that hope is contagious. When we embrace it, we inspire others to do the same. Hope spreads like wildfire, creating a ripple effect that uplifts not just ourselves, but those around us as well. The more we hold on to hope, the brighter the future becomes, not just for us, but for everyone we touch. Hope is not about perfection, and it's not about knowing exactly how things will turn out. It's about trusting that no matter what happens, we will find a way through. It's the belief that even in our darkest moments, there is always a spark of possibility waiting to be ignited. Hope is the fire that keeps us warm in the coldest of times, and it is the fuel that carries us toward a brighter tomorrow. Life often doesn't unfold the way we expect it to. We face setbacks, detours, and moments of failure that can leave us questioning everything. But what if those setbacks weren't obstacles, but rather setups for something greater? What if every challenge we encounter is laying the foundation for a stronger version of ourselves? It's easy to get discouraged when things go wrong, but the truth is, setbacks are often the starting point for growth. There was a time in my life when I felt like I had hit a wall. The plans I had worked so hard for fell apart, and the future I had imagined seemed unreachable. It was one of those moments when it felt like everything I had been striving for was slipping away. But in the midst of that disappointment, something shifted within me. I realized that this setback wasn't the end, it was just a new beginning. It was an opportunity to reassess my path, to learn and to endure stronger than before. Often when we face setbacks, we see them as failures. We judge ourselves for not achieving what we set out to do, and we get trapped in negative self-talk. But what if we looked at those moments differently? Instead of seeing failure, we could see a lesson. Instead of viewing setbacks as punishment, we could see them as a form of redirection, guiding us toward a better, more authentic path. The truth is, every time we stumble, we're given the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to refine our understanding of what truly matters. I've learned that setbacks are often disguised as blessings. They force us to stop and take stock of where we are, what we want, and what we're willing to work for. They help us develop resilience, the kind of resilience that comes from getting back up after every fall, from refusing to let adversity define us. Each time we face a setback and choose to continue, we are building strength and character that can't be acquired any other way. Think about the times you've struggled in the past, those moments when everything felt impossible. Now look at how much you've learned since then. Those setbacks didn't break you, they built you. They taught you what you were capable of, and they pushed you toward a better version of yourself. Without those challenges, you wouldn't be who you are today. Setbacks also teach us the value of patience. We often want everything to happen quickly and effortlessly, but life doesn't work that way. Real growth takes time. When things don't go according to plan, it's not an indication that we failed. It's an invitation to be patient, to trust the process, and to keep working. Success doesn't come overnight, and neither does personal transformation. It's the result of persistent effort, of learning from our mistakes, and of embracing the setbacks as part of the journey. In the end, every setback holds the potential to set us up for something greater. It's all about how we choose to respond to those moments of difficulty. Will we allow them to define us, or will we use them as stepping stones to rise higher? The choice is ours. Setbacks are not the end. They are simply the beginning of a new chapter in our journey of growth, resilience, and transformation. Living a life of purpose is something many of us strive for, but it's easy to lose sight of when life gets overwhelming. We get caught up in the daily grind, chasing after things that don't truly matter, and sometimes we forget why we started in the first place. But deep within each of us lies a desire for something more, a calling, a mission, a reason for being that goes beyond just existing. It's when we connect with that purpose that life becomes more meaningful, more fulfilling. I know there have been times in my life when I felt lost, unsure of where I was going or what I was meant to do. I was moving through the motions, checking off boxes, but something was missing. That's when I realized that purpose isn't something we can find by looking outside ourselves. It's something we uncover by listening to our hearts. It's about tuning into what makes us feel alive, what excites us, and what we're willing to fight for. Purpose doesn't always appear in grand, life-altering moments. Sometimes it's found in the small, everyday decisions that align with our values. It's in the way we treat others, the way we show up for the people we love, and the way we give our best, even when no one is watching. When we live in alignment with our values, our actions become a reflection of our purpose. We stop searching for meaning because we are creating it every day through the way we live. There's also something incredibly powerful about living with purpose. It brings clarity. When we know what we're working toward, decisions become easier. We no longer waste time chasing after things that don't matter. Our goals become clearer, and our energy becomes focused on the things that truly align with our purpose. Whether it's in our career, our relationships, or the way we spend our time, purpose guides us toward what's important, helping us prioritize what deserves our attention. But living with purpose doesn't mean that life will always be easy or without obstacles. On the contrary, purpose often requires sacrifice, hard work, and perseverance. It's about choosing the difficult path because we know it's worth it in the end. There will be times when doubt creeps in, when we question whether the struggle is worth it. But in those moments, our purpose becomes our anchor. It reminds us why we started, why we need to keep going, and why it's all worth it. Purpose also connects us to something greater than ourselves. When we live with purpose, we're not just working for our own success or happiness, we're contributing to the world around us. Our actions have the power to impact others in ways we may never fully understand. Whether it's inspiring someone else to take a leap of faith or helping others through a difficult time, living with purpose creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond our own lives. Ultimately, living a life of purpose is about aligning our actions with our deepest values, pursuing what brings us fulfillment, and recognizing that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. It's about embracing the journey, trusting the process, and understanding that every step we take with purpose brings us closer to the life we are meant to live. When we live with intention and meaning, we don't just exist, we thrive.